Welcome to another wonderful day in the Word of God. As we continue our study of the letter of James together, I want to continue to challenge you to be striving toward maturity in your spiritual life and faith. Now, the series we're currently making our way through is entitled Maturing in the Faith, and today we're going to focus on the topic, A Maturing Faith Understands God's Justice. Let's begin by turning into chapter 5 and taking a look at our text passage where we find in James 5 verses 1 through 6. Beginning with James 5:1, this is what's written. Come now, you rich people, weep and wail over the miseries that are coming on you. Your wealth is ruined and your clothes are moth-eaten. Your silver and gold are corroded, and their corrosion will be a witness against you and will eat your flesh like fire. You stored up treasure in the last days. Look, the pay that you withheld from the workers who reaped your fields cries out, and the outcry of the harvesters has reached the ears of the Lord of hosts. You have lived luxuriously on the land and have indulged yourselves. You have fattened your hearts for the day of slaughter. You have condemned, you have murdered the righteous man. He does not resist you. As I was researching these verses, I discovered an interesting perspective given by Douglas Moo in his commentary on the letter of James. He explains that today's verses condemn a sinful use of wealth. And in doing so, he makes the following statement. We cannot avoid the serious reminder about money and possessions that we confront in this context. One of the sins for which God condemns these people is their selfish accumulation of money and things. In the Western world, where amassing material wealth is not only condoned but admired, we Christians need to come to grips with this point in James and ask ourselves seriously, when do we have too much? Friend, it's important to realize that a maturing faith understands God's justice. The rich oppressors that James is speaking about in today's passage were most likely unbelievers who were being condemned by James because many believing readers had fallen victims to their exploitation. Speaking out against this practice in a somewhat prophet's tone, James reassures the church that they're not going to get away with it. As James shares in verses 1 through 3, misery was coming for the rich, prideful oppressors. He assured the church that temporal things will pass away, that their ill-gotten wealth would rot, that their gold and their silver would corrode. The fact is, all the things in which they had placed their trust would one day let them down and would eventually even testify against their wrong choices. As we move into verses 3b through verse 6, we discover the truth of where they went wrong. James shares that they greedily hoarded their money, that they cheated their workers out of their wages. And while they were exploiting the labor of their workers, they themselves were living in great luxury and in self-indulgence. They condemned and even murdered the righteous man, probably a way of saying that they had manipulated the court system. They had fattened themselves while they were starving others. But in God's divine irony, they were fattening themselves for the day of slaughter. The cries of the poor had reached the ears of God. The perfect judge would see to it that justice was carried out. Now, you might be asking what this has to do with you. Well, sadly, even the less than rich can find themselves exploiting those lower than themselves on the economic scale. It seems to be a prideful yet very sad human thing. Think about what James is speaking to you personally through these passages today. Think about your own life, and as you do, I encourage you to examine your own heart and examine your priorities. I challenge you to answer some questions within yourself. Are you living a God-honoring life? Are your priorities right? Are you guilty of exploiting others in an attempt to make yourself look better? Perhaps it's a good time for some deep heart repentance and a changed life. Think about it. Until next time.